How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 80. My name is Victor Vasquez. Appreciate you joining me on another journey to talk about a new movie. We watch a new movie in theaters or streaming. We break it down, give you some pros and cons, and then decide whether it is timeless after one viewing. Is it ridiculous? Most likely. But we don't care about that. And I keep saying we because, every fifth episode, we got a guest here. We have AKA Mr. Ohm, AKA every fifth episode.
Yeah.
Ooh. AKA the man who is collecting hats when he goes to baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
Omar Vasquez. Thanks so much for joining me, man.
I actually like AKA Mr. Every 5.
That is a good nickname, huh?
That's pretty good.
Just came off the top of the dome like that.
I might start adapting that into like every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Like everything I'm gonna just do in 5s.
What else would you do in 5s?
If I want like tacos, 5 tacos.
Oh.
If I want Skittles, I can only eat 5 Skittles at a time.
Damn.
Stuff like that.
5 chicken tenders.
Yeah. So if I go to Cane's, I have to order two, 3 combos and throw one away.
All this crazy stuff. Omar, thanks so much for joining me, man. I'm super excited. I am super pumped. I was telling Omar before this that this episode it's just special. Not only again because we have Omar here, it's every fifth episode, but also because of the movie that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about the first and only Marvel movie of 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the third film in the Deadpool franchise. It is directed by Sean Levy, and it stars Ryan Reynolds as obviously Deadpool, and then you have the return of Wolverine in Hugh Jackman. Mm-hmm. And so we were pumped. I'm really curious, before we kind of jump into our overall thoughts, I know this because obviously I talk to my brother about these movies all the time, but just to kind of let everybody else know, Mr. Ohm, there was a specific expectation that you were kind of putting on this movie. Can you describe this a little bit to everybody that's listening? What was your expectation of Deadpool and Wolverine, and kind of what was your outlook?
Well, it's really simple. If the movie was good, I keep watching Marvel, and if it's bad, I stop watching everything Marvel immediately. I quit.
Yeah. Very drastic, yeah?
It has to be, yeah? Because I hold Marvel to a high standard. No, not only that I hold it to a high standard, I'm also mad that this should be like a state of the Marvel Union, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of address how we feel about Marvel right now.
Yeah.
I told you after Endgame, it should have ended after Endgame.
Omar did say that.
That's like a complete story, you know?
It was all 3 acts, you know?
Yeah, and they kept going.
Yeah.
So I was like, if you're gonna keep going, this has to be better than everything you've done before. It has to be better than Endgame.
Yeah.
Dude, it hasn't. So why are you still making movies and shows? You're not up to the same standard.
Yeah.
Like it's not as good as before. So why
do you feel overwhelmed in a point like that? Like with so much that you had to see, right? You have to keep up with like the Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Ms. Marvel, X-Men 97 is something recent that you really like, but I can see that like from your point, is any of that level getting to Endgame, right? To your mindset, it has not.
Look, they're producing quantity but no quality.
Yeah.
If it were good, I would have a different opinion, but I feel like it hasn't really been good. And I feel like they know it too. Why else would this be the only Marvel movie this year? Only Marvel project this year? Show or besides X-Men 97.
X-Men 97. And then there's Agatha that's getting her own show that might be coming
out. Like up to this point.
Yes.
It's like they put a pause on everything.
Yes.
Why? Because they know if this movie is not good, people are gonna quit. Like me.
Yeah. And you're probably not the only one that feels that way, right? You're probably.
I hope not.
You're probably other people that are also kind of feeling that same type of a vibe where like, hey, you know, it's already hard to keep up with all the things that I need to know before watching a Marvel movie, and like now it's like, okay, this isn't really. It's not an enjoyable event. Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
I have the opposite take from Mr. Ohm. I love Marvel. I have a bias for it. Every movie that's come out since Endgame, I've either enjoyed or liked, or some maybe even loved. I can think of like Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, like movies like that where I enjoyed those experiences. Mm-hmm. Now, there's probably other ones, you know, where like Ant-Man, Quantumania was like, you know, I liked it. Didn't consider it timeless. But there's, you know, I can definitely see why they're like the fans can kind of feel that kind of energy of like, they're like, oh, this is the only project. And I think like Omar said, it's a good game plan by Marvel. You give them a break, let everybody breathe a little bit, watch other stuff, and then this became like a worldwide event. People got excited again to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's Omar's expectation. Again, if he didn't like it, he's done with Marvel. Me, if the movie wasn't good, I'm still probably going to give other films a chance. I'm not going to be as harsh. I already have a bias, but I'm willing to admit that I have a bias. So that's why I have Omar here to kind of contrast me on the different opinions that we might have. But I think, Omar, this is a great opportunity to jump in to our overall thoughts. I just want to call out that I thought this movie was incredible for me. Again, bias, you know it's there. I enjoy a lot of the Marvel movies. One of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make a podcast was because I enjoyed Endgame so much that I wanted to be a part of the conversation of like talking about how this film made me feel. And so there's a bias there, and I can admit that. But I thought this movie was really well done. My expectations were pretty high, even though not to the extent of Omar, where the extremes of like, I need this to be top tier. Like not to the level of like, I'm going to quit after this, not see anymore. To me, it was more of like expectations of, can you make it like the other two Deadpool movies hilarious? But can you also connect it to the MCU in a way where it doesn't seem very like, okay, this doesn't feel like it connects. That was my biggest worry, is can you make the film feel like, hey, you see in the trailers, not spoiling anything, you see TVA agents. You see that he's in the TVA. That immediately got me nervous because I was like, that tells me that you're trying to make a connection to Loki, which is one of the best shows that they've been able to put out. Mm-hmm. And if you're not able to make that connection and you're just saying like, this is maybe like a separate TVA area like that, or this isn't connected to the Loki one, then that was going to rub me the wrong way. And I'm like, this isn't really connected to the MCU as a whole. After watching it, to me, it landed. It landed really well. Everything that was again in my mind and my headcanon of the expectations, I loved it. It was hilarious. The journey that Wolverine and Deadpool go on throughout the film, it was something that like I loved seeing every scene that they had together. I can honestly say that I was smiling the entire time that I was watching the movie. Either smiling because of something that Deadpool would say, smiling because I got to see Wolverine with his mask on, seeing like all this crazy stuff that like, again, I was really just in my mind coming up with theories of like, how is this all going to play out? And I just enjoyed every aspect of it. Is it a perfect movie? No, it's not perfect. But it gets as close as possible, at least in my mind, to like being one of those top tier Marvel movies. I'm not gonna rank it because I feel like I would need to constantly think about like what was gonna be my next one. But
so for you, is it timeless?
Well, hold on. Hey, we gotta give them a little more before we tell them the timeless aspect of it. But
it sounded like you're ready to decide.
it sounded like that. Okay. But again, I just enjoyed the entire film. Again, it had me dying, laughing. I can honestly say right now, Omar, the funniest movie I've seen this year. And I don't know if there's another movie that'll probably make me laugh as much as this one. And again, it just everything just worked for me. I really enjoy the meta aspect of Deadpool, the meta jokes, and so to me, I enjoy that. I like watching the behind the scenes, the assembled videos like that, and like everything about like Marvel behind the scenes. I like that, and I think that's why this kind of movie connects really well with me, because those jokes just kind of make sense. You know, the cameos that appeared, I don't know, it was just a fun experience, and it was cool to see a lot of people in the same, in the theater that we were in also enjoy it just as much. Mm-hmm. So it was just awesome. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as their characters.
Are these kind of like pros?
No. These are just high level details.
Okay.
High level. I have even more like to pros to get into, but I just wanted to kind of make that clear again that I just enjoyed from beginning to end. The whole film was just an awesome experience. I'll stop rambling there. I've been rambling for a long time. Ms. Rom, I'll pass it to you. Any other kind of thoughts or anything different than what I described as my overall kind of thoughts about the movie?
Overall, no. I mean, I feel like once you talk about like into the what are they called?
Pros and cons,
or like
favorite moments.
Yeah. I think of stuff to say.
Got it.
Right now, you pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
It was a really funny movie.
Nice. All right. Let's go ahead and dive in then, man. I'm ready to go into spoilers. And then we're gonna have to spoil things again. We have to, just because of the extent of like what we're talking about and all the things that went down in this movie. So if you have not seen Deadpool Wolverine, please leave. Come back after you've seen it. That way you can kind again, get our thoughts, and then feel free down below in the comments if you agree or disagree with what me and Omar are saying. Let us know. Definitely want to interact and see what your guys' thoughts are on this movie. But
and if you also wanted to quit if it was bad, also say that.
Exactly.
If this was a defining point for you, let me know. Yeah.
Am
I alone out there?
Maybe you are alone. So again, hopefully that gave you guys enough warning before we start jumping into spoilers. But if not, Mr. Rome, let's go ahead and dive into some pros and cons about Deadpool and Wolverine. I want you to start. What was some of your pros that you had about this movie?
You know, I was really, really worried that this movie wasn't going to be as funny as the first and second Deadpool, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's always my concern about like sequels, trilogies. Sometimes it just don't feel the same as the first movies that came out. Yeah. But this one feels exactly the same as the first two Deadpool. Maybe the first one more than anything, because I like the first one more than the second one. Yeah. But the third one, I think the writing and the jokes were funny. It really was. I think I agree. It was like the funniest movie I've seen this year. And who are the writers? Because I know it's. I have it right here actually. Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and even Ryan Reynolds was the writer for this movie. Yeah. But they've been the same writers for the other two movies, and some jokes are stupid, like really stupid. Or like you're like, oh, all right, you kind of roll your eyes. But the ones that land, they're so like I feel like they really have a good grasp. They have a good sense of humor, I guess. Yeah. Because at this point, I think they're experts at the comedic superhero genre. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody can make a funny superhero like them. So that's my pro. Like the movie is just as funny as the other two.
I love it. Yeah, same thought. I wrote that down as well. To me, there are like dumb jokes, but I enjoyed those. I laughed. I either like chuckled or like really laughed out loud at some of them. But I again enjoyed anything that Deadpool would say. It was just funny to me. Even like the delivery of Logan and how he would deliver some lines to him as well when they were together. Like they're just some of them like they're just funny like that. Like hilarious kind of thoughts like that. Just all that kind of stuff just worked really well for me.
I feel like that pairing is always going to be funny. The character that talks a lot and says a lot of jokes and doesn't take anything serious, and the character that's super plays everything straight.
Stoic character.
Yeah. You know. And they've actually done that every movie, if you think about it. Yeah. They've done that with Colossus, Cable, and now Wolverine.
But it worked for me in every movie, and again, it contrasts really well between the two characters, which makes each one stand out on their own. So
yeah, I feel like that's always going to work.
Nice. I'll jump to one of my pros, Mr. Rome. I wanted to call out, I really was impressed by the visual effects and the action of the movie. Visual effects, I have to call it out. So one of the villains of the movie is called Cassandra Nova. She is the, I guess, twin sister of Charles Xavier. Mm-hmm. Those scenes, Omar, where she would put her hand through somebody's head and like almost look like their skin is bending around her hand as she's like basically trying to get like a picture of what's in their mind and get a visual as to what's going on and what they're thinking of. That any type of visual like that, when she's going inside Mr. Paradox, which is one of the TVA agents, when she went through Deadpool, when she went one finger through Wolverine, like all of those scenes like were at least amazing to me. Now, am I an expert in CGI and visual effects? No, but to me, it like I was able to suspend my disbelief and like this looks so realistic. This looks so good. I don't know if you felt that way, but
I did.
Yeah, like I thought those visual effects were amazing.
It looked really good, yeah.
One other thing that I want to call out is, like I mentioned, also the effects that they would do for the action scenes. Like anytime it was like Deadpool when he was taking on the TVA agents at the beginning, like these specific camera shots where it would just go like really wide and kind of follow him around. It all looked so real. He was like impaling and like wrecking fools that were from the TVA agents. Like everything looked so realistic. And then anytime he would face off against Wolverine, whether it was in a car, whether there was like in the void, everything looked so realistic that like it made me much more like appreciative of the experience that I was having.
Yeah, the action scenes were incredible. Like, I guess that's one of my pros too. Obviously, it's Deadpool Wolverine. Mm-hmm. You're gonna expect them to fight at one point in the movie, and when they do, those are like probably some of the best scenes in the movie. Like they get you pumped. Like people who made the movie know like, and it is another pro actually. Yeah, it was a second pro. Yeah, or third actually. The writers, producers, director, whatever, they understand exactly what the audience wants. Mm-hmm. Even the concerns even like I'm gonna get to this point where like I guess I'll just say it now.
So, tell me, man.
When there's a line where all the variants of Deadpool come out.
Yes.
And then and the movie's very meta, like you said.
Yeah.
Which is another pro I have. So I guess there's 4 pros in one. Where he starts breaking the fourth wall and saying how the multiverse sucks and that they shouldn't be doing this, and then you keep saying, even he said that after Endgame, like Marvel fell off. Dude, like for them to say this means they really understand the audience, or maybe they're even looking at it from a fan's perspective because they are fans. The movie really, I feel like, I want to say fan service, even though that has kind of like a bad connotation, but I mean it's good, right? Like it gives the fans what they want.
Yeah, or it even like has like Deadpool and the whole like the writers that are writing out the dialogue. It kind of gives them like the ability to be like, we're, like he said, we're the fans and we're giving you guys the voice and we know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's almost like we're with you, like we're speaking for you. We're giving you what you want. And so you can see that in the writing, you can see that in the action scenes. So when him and Wolverine fight, it's like, dude, this is exactly what I want as a Marvel fan.
As the great Kendrick Lamar said, I'm what the culture's feeling.
That's like what the writers are saying. Yeah?
I had to put a Kendrick Lamar line in there. I just thought about that like right now at the top of my head. I'm with you, Omar. Like that again. They kind of that leans into like a lot of the jokes as well. Like that, like everything that was like so meta. It was just like again, it was funny, but I appreciated that they didn't just like lie or that said like yeah, like oh, like everything's fine, like or like he immediately from the beginning he was like I was like oh, I'm here to save Marvel like that. I'm Marvel Jesus, and I was like and it's like there's stuff like that like where he's joking, but on the other hand you're like wait what is his purpose like that? What is he going to do? Like, is he going to infuse his new energy into Marvel that hopefully gets people to act like before Endgame, right? To the lead up of Endgame. Are we going to feel that excitement that we were again? Like, okay, what's going to happen? So I agree with Omar, like all those points.
Yeah, the movie's very meta. Yeah, like he's in the story wise, he's there to save the day. In real life, it's like this character is here to save Marvel. He's here to save the day. So the whole thing is like tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I love it, Mr. Roman. Another pro that I'm gonna kind of jump into is the cameos. Now, like Omar kind of called out, cameos can sometimes just be fan service. Like spoiler warning for anybody that hasn't seen like Spider-Man No Way Home, but you have Charlie Cox who plays Daredevil, Matt Murdock, come out. And again, that could be viewed as like fan service because now he's officially part of the MCU. But to me, I enjoy those because it kind of just adds more and more lore. And that's like one of the things that the reasons why I feel like I love the Marvel franchise so much is because for some people that have to do homework and be like, so what do I have to watch before this movie or what do I have to know? To me, that's the part that I love. I love the lore. I love knowing that like, well, which characters are which like that? Like who can come out and what? Like where are they in this specific moment? And so, to me, cameos are always fun like that, to know more about the lore of, like, where were these characters when these things happen. Deadpool and Wolverine has a slew of cameos that we either maybe were spoiled by or we didn't see coming, at least for me. I'll call out a couple of them, Mr. Oman. Again, spoiler warning one more time. If you're still here, please leave, because there's a couple cameos that we're going to just call out.
Yeah.
You have Channing Tatum come out as Gambit. I was blown away that they were able to pull that off.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't know if you had ever heard rumors of that they wanted to make that, but like for anybody again that's listening that didn't know, people had been fan casting Channing Tatum like that, and I think even Channing Tatum always wanted to be that role of like Gambit. They have him in legit a X-Men 97 and even 90 like the 90s cartoon accurate attire. And his accent was spot on. He nailed the accent, which was incredible.
Which I was worried about too. Before he even spoke, I was like, is Channing Tatum going to be able to pull off this French, like Louisiana accent? He was good. He was really good.
He nailed it. And so unbelievable. You have Elektra from the Daredevil, but from the Ben Affleck Daredevil. So you have, I didn't expect that one, like to kind of see that one come out. And then you have Wesley Snipes as Blade, and you're like, I'm just losing my mind. I'm like, Blade?
That one got a big pop in the theater.
It did. Jennifer Garner as Elektra, like you got some people that I was like, oh, gasped and like, okay. And then Wesley Snipes comes after it, and I'm like,
some people clapped.
Yeah, people were just like, I don't think anybody expected that as a cameo. And then you had Laura, who came out in the Logan movie like that, X-23. And so people were excited about that. That one was the one that Omar I got spoiled by.
Really?
I just because I kept hearing about it, and so like that kind of felt I was spoiled a little bit about it. A couple other ones that I wanted to call out, Mr. Rome, and then make sure that let me know if I missed any of them. You have Chris Evans, who comes out as, and you think, and I think this is again the meta of it of like you make him. Not only do you have Chris Evans come out, right? You have him say his first line in the Captain America voice. And you immediately think this guy, Captain America is like that. Like, okay,
he's back.
He's back. And then you see him in his outfit as the Fantastic Four. He's Johnny Storm. That it's just genius like that.
That's probably for this type of movie. That's probably the perfect cameo.
Yes,
it's a setup, and then it's the reveal, which is a joke because we're all expecting Captain America. But then it's still that cool. It's
like
so
how long is he gonna be here like that?
Yeah,
like,
it's like that fan service feeling, which is good. I like it too. Yeah, that's like the perfect cameo for this movie.
Oh,
it was cool.
It was
so cool.
amazing. A couple other ones, Omar, that I have here. You have Sabretooth from the X-Men, the original X-Men come out.
I got spoiled on that one.
That's the one you got spoiled by?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That I wasn't expecting him to come out. And then you have Henry Cavill come out.
I forgot about this.
As Wolverine.
I forgot about that.
And he only comes out for like a minute. But from behind, when you're seeing him, you're like, okay, is this another variant of Wolverine? You're going through a montage of different Wolverines, and a lot of them are Hugh Jackman. And you're like, okay. And then you see this one, and he keeps talking, but they're not showing his face. And then he turns around, and it's Henry Cavill, and you're like, and immediately you go, I wish this guy is the next Wolverine, right? Like you would hope that it would be that. I probably think it's not going to be, but I would hope and pray that he would be the next Wolverine because that one line that he had like was perfect for me. His look, he already has the body type of it.
Dude, his body is perfect. It's perfect for any strong superhero. When he was Superman, remember that scene where in the first Man of Steel where he's running through the rain shirtless? Yep. You're like, that's Superman. When you see him in this movie in his tank top, you're like, that's Wolverine. That guy is badass.
It was perfect. That's again another one like Omar was describing, like a fan service cameo, but that works, right? It works because he's not gonna have a big part in the movie. It's not a big part in the story, but it just like adds more to the lore of like there's a universe where Henry Cavill is Wolverine, and also adds to like where we're saying where the writers are speaking for the audience because Deadpool even makes a comment. I forgot what he says. You're like, oh, this feels right. Like, because that's all of us. We know, we can see it. That does feel right. Like, that could be Wolverine. He even says Cavalry. That's what he said. Like, I don't know if you caught that line. And then he even calls out, like, it's like we're not going to mess you up like the guys across the street or on the other side of the street DC. Referencing DC. Yeah. And I was like, man, it just works so well. So those are the ones that, Omar, that I called out that I have here. I don't know if there's any other kind of cameos that you remember, but I think those are like some of the bigger ones. You had other Deadpools. Omar called it out a little bit before. There's like variants of Deadpools. Like there's like Lady Deadpool. There's Kid Deadpool. There's Headpool. You have all these different characters. I don't know if you caught, Omar, there was a Cowboy Pool. Did you know who the voice actor was for that one? No. It was Matthew McConaughey. Really? Matthew McConaughey was Cowboy Pool. Oh. Then Lady Deadpool was his wife, Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively. And so... Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, like, so that they included a lot of folks. They didn't show their faces, but they were all kind of referenced as different Deadpools. And so there was so much stuff. But again, why I have this as a pro is not only because of the surprise, but specifically, Omar, for Elektra, Gambit, Blade, and X-23, they actually mattered in the story. They were, in a way, forgotten characters. Not forgotten, like, either by some fans, maybe they forgot about Blade, or some forgot about Elektra. But also because of the way that this story was revolving a lot around like some of the Fox characters, they were going to be forgotten like that, you know? We're moving on to just MCU basically controlling all these characters, and so they had a big part to play in the story. They helped Deadpool and Wolverine in the void. And so I really enjoyed that not only did these characters stay for longer scenes, but they also had a part to play. And so that's why that was one of my pros, is like that these cameos, again, were fan service, but they also added to the story. And I love it when they do that. Let me jump to one of my pros. Yeah. One of my pros, because you brought up how these are like 20th Century Fox heroes that didn't get enough shine before. I feel like this whole movie is like a thank you letter to Fox, or not even Fox, but like the heroes that weren't a part of the MCU. Mm-hmm. And
because like you said, these heroes that were forgotten about.
Yeah.
And they're given their time to shine in the prime superhero era that we're in.
Yep.
Like they all came out too early.
Yep.
If they would have come out a decade later, they would have been like revered, almost like how the Avengers are now. Mm-hmm. So this movie was like a thank you letter to all the heroes that came before the MCU.
Yeah. And they even showed like a montage at the end.
Yeah,
remember like all the 20th century like heroes that were part of like that company, and like they would show like all the Fantastic Four teams, like everybody like that.
All the X-Men movies.
It was good. That's a good call out, Mr. Rum. Like it is in a way like wrapping up their stories in a way, and like highlighting like, hey, yes, it might be over for them, but let's not forget them, right? Like that they all had a part to play in setting the stage, like for this new, like obviously the MCU that's growing bigger and bigger with more characters. So I like that. Mr. Rum, any other pros that you can kind of think of?
No.
We've talked about like visuals, action, anything else? I have a couple more. All right, a couple more that I want to throw your way. Pro for me, Deadpool and Wolverine's story arcs. What I mean by that is that both of them went through various different types of journeys. One of the things that I enjoyed most about Deadpool is that, and I think one of the reasons why I enjoy every movie of Deadpool is not only because it's hilarious, but deep down, like the movie is really about like something important. Like in the first film, it's about like, again, his love for Vanessa, like that. Really, they've all been for the love of Vanessa, but like in different ways. Like one is obviously to protect her, one is to bring her back, and in this one, it's more to like get her back because they ended up breaking up and like wanting to have his life matter. And so the entire arc of like Deadpool is always been incredible. A lot of people on like face level would just think of him as like the character like, hey, he's just jokes. And they even reference that like in this movie like that this guy's just like he's just the guy that's gonna make people laugh and say meta jokes and break the fourth wall, when in deep down inside, like he wants to be an Avenger. He wants to matter to not only to Vanessa but to all of his friends around him. And so I really enjoyed like that whole kind of arc of just him really wanting to kind of put things in perspective. And although that, you know, his defense mechanism is just to make jokes and kind of put people like in these kind of situations where he's just breaking the fourth wall, but in reality it's just like hey like he really wants to be a part of something way bigger, and now he's a part of the MCU. And so it's all this stuff. So I enjoyed that arc, although very simplistic, but I still enjoyed it. My other favorite arc is Wolverine, specifically this Wolverine, where we're basically told that he's the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. Any other Wolverine in any other kind of timeline does not compare to this one, apparently. And just seeing how he was able to, again, Hugh Jackman, like being able to portray a different Wolverine, it must be dope, because like, again, he's played the character more than like any other actor has played another hero. And so him having the ability to play the same Wolverine, but more so play a Wolverine that's basically, he's down in the dumps. He doesn't care about anything about being a hero because he's already let all of his X-Men down. And so seeing him like get through that, and you can see it's obviously telegraphed that he's gonna be a hero, but it's just so cool, like of the different things that they say to him are like some of my favorite lines of the movie, is where you have X-23 sitting on like a log with him, and he tells him like that, like it's like, I'm the wrong guy, and then she tells him, well, you're always the wrong guy until you're not. And then I was like, oh, that's a great line. And then there's another line where like at the end where Deadpool asks like, can we go back and change his past so that maybe we can get some of the X-Men that we lost? And he goes, like, the past is what makes you the anchor being that you are today. And I'm like, it's like the great lines like that, like, and it's just, again, it sets up like this great arc for Wolverine now, where like, again, it's just, even if you are the worst, even if you've let people down and you killed people and you've gone through this crazy stuff, obviously it's not going to relate to real life in a way, but in a sense, we've all done like these kind of bad things that we probably regret, but it's never going to like stop us from maybe being an anchor being in whatever reality that we're in. And so I enjoyed that kind of aspect. Yeah. Those arcs were really cool. And again, even though, yes, the movie is hilarious, it is funny, that to me is like the foundation, is just like these two characters that are just misfits. They're just, they're never going to be considered the true heroes in a way, but they make themselves the heroes in this film. So
I agree. And the movie really knows how to be funny and when to be serious. And that's something that the first movie that comes to mind that doesn't do that is Thor: Love and Thunder. Because I feel like that, oh my God, the scenes where they're funny and serious don't go together at all, and there's no flow in between the two.
Yeah.
This movie is really good at doing that.
it balances both sides really well. Where again, like it could get to a point where there could be a lot of jokes, but then it kind of just turns right or turns left into like, okay, here's like a serious moment, and it just balances everything very nicely.
And that Wolverine story is a pro and a con for me.
Oh,
do you want to do your pro? Your last pro?
Last pro, very quickly. Costume design.
Oh, hell
for not only for Deadpool and Wolverine, but for Channing Tatum as Gambit, for Wesley Snipes' Blade, Jennifer Garner as Elektra. Everybody's costumes in this movie that came out, I loved. To me, if I had to choose one of my favorite costumes, it's gonna be Wolverine. When he had his sleeves off, just to show the guns that he had like that, it was incredible. Like just everything that they did. Even Deadpool, I loved that his suit was brighter red from the Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2. Like, because I've been seeing a lot of different types of videos and Instagram pictures, but like those suits are like very dark red, like a very dry red. This one's like bright, kind of shows off the colors. And I love that the way that they shot both Wolverine and Deadpool in like snow or in different types of like these areas like the void where like the colors just popped even more. And it's like, it made me appreciate those costume design that they had in this movie.
Something about Deadpool's costume and even Wolverine's, but Deadpool's costume since the first movie, it looks so good. It kind of looks a little CGI at times, but it's
realistic. It's
super.
Like,
it's super nice. It's a really good costume design. Yeah, for both of them.
Love it, Mr. Hope. Those were all my pros, man. I got through all of them. I'm really curious about your con, so why don't you just jump into it, man? What's that one con that you have?
So that Wolverine arc is incredible. I loved it, but like how we said with Elektra and Blade and all these other heroes, I feel like this movie was kind of correcting their endings, right? Or making them like giving them the ending they deserve. I think Wolverine's ending in Logan is perfect. For him to end his character on that movie, I thought was like one of the best decisions ever.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie wanted to, if they're correcting every other hero that came in that was in Fox, I feel like they also had that in mind with Wolverine. Mm-hmm. It makes up this Wolverine. It's like it's not a Wolverine we know.
Yeah.
But it's still setting him up like where at the end of the day he gets a happy ending.
Yeah.
He gets to be with X-23.
Yeah.
He gets to be alive.
And he gets to matter like as like somebody like that, like in his prior universe where he was like everybody hated him because of what he did.
But I don't know if I want that. Like I feel like for the other heroes, they replaced their endings with a better one.
Yeah.
With Wolverine, I don't think they replaced his story with the better one.
There's no better that you can get than what he did.
I think Logan is the best ending you could do for that character.
Yeah.
In real life and in the stories, because like in the stories, Wolverine is like a troubled character who's been alive for years and years, and through those years, like the human mind can only take so much. He has like he's filled with trauma.
Yeah.
And he can't die because he keeps regenerating, so he can never rest. And what we get in Logan, he finally is able to rest, you know? And I feel like that's perfect. So I didn't really like how maybe they were intending to end his story happy.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't have to be happy because like if the character's ending and like maybe Hugh Jackman, maybe he did feel like a piece of him died when he stopped playing Wolverine. I thought it was like poetic for it to end in Logan. So it's kind of but the story, it's a pro for me. His arc in this movie, it's a pro. I just don't know if I like it more than Logan's ending.
Yeah, that's totally respectable. I totally can see that being like a con, especially because of like it doesn't take anything away from Logan in that like it doesn't remove that ending in any kind of way.
Yeah.
But it does kind of change the perspective of like how Omar described it. Even though it is two separate Wolverines, but you know, not everybody gets to have a happy ending, right? Like everybody kind of their stories, like Omar said, is very poetic. Like Logan's is very poetic in that he sacrificed himself to give X-23 a better life moving forward. And you know, you don't have to like you know show us that like no, don't worry guys, Wolverine's good.
Yeah,
he's happy. And I was like, look, we don't need that, you know. So I can totally see that as a comment.
Do you have any cons?
I do. I have two. Not big cons. They don't take me away from the movie.
I have one more.
So let me jump to mine. One of the cons that I had was, even though I just said that I loved the entire Wolverine arc and the character, I did want to see flashbacks of what he did to make him the worst Wolverine. But I want to get your thoughts. I talked to Liz, who's my girlfriend, and about this idea. She feels like you don't need to see it like that. You just need to know that this guy didn't help his X-Men. He let them die, and he did a bunch of terrible things. I'm a very visual person, Mr. Ohm. You can tell me whatever you want about what you did, what you didn't do. Just show me a 5-second flashback of something gruesome, terrible that you did that makes you the worst Wolverine. And so, like, if I were to kind of grade this, like, of his whole kind of story arc in this movie, to me, it's like a 9.5, 9.6. That 0.4 or 3 is just give me a small flashback of, like, what did you do? Because, again, it's alluded to, and he kind of describes that the X-Men died, and he just didn't go help them out. Like, he ignored the cries. He ignored what was going on. I think, let me know, because, again, we've only seen it once, but something occurred where, like, again, the X-Men were killed by humans, and he ended up just going on a rampage and killing good humans, bad humans.
I don't know if I caught it. I think he killed people before.
Oh, okay.
I think he went on a rampage before.
Oh.
And that's why the humans attacked the X-Men.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
It most likely something that I didn't catch. All I'm saying is that, again, this doesn't take away anything from me loving the movie. I would have just loved just give me like a small flashback. Because there was a flashback when Cassandra went into his mind, and you see different images, but I think they might be like images
Stuff
from
we've
like
seen before.
I would have loved to just like show what he did specifically, just a little bit, not make it too obvious, but like just showing his that dark side of what makes him want to get drunk and basically forget and ignore and suppress all that emotion.
So you want like the show, don't tell.
Yeah, like that's one thing that, again, just a small thing like that. Again, it doesn't take away. I still love everything about that character, but it would have gone a long way for me just because of how visual I am. Like, I really wanted to see that.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add, or if you feel like, no, like, I think, at least, what do you think, Omar? Like, do you think like what they described about him being the worst was enough? Like, this is the worst Wolverine in the multiverse. And I'm like, when they said that, I was like, what did he do?
Yeah,
and I was like,
I guess now that you bring it up, it's true. Like, why would you just believe he's the worst?
Yeah,
I think you're right. If they would have showed what he's done, or like more of his past, I think it would have made the audience maybe even get the audience to try to hate him.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, oh man, this guy does suck. He is the worst Wolverine, and then have him earn our trust at the end.
Redeem
him. You know what? That's a good con.
That would have been a great way like that.
Yeah.
Almost make him like, because every time you have a Wolverine character, he's loved.
He's loved. Everybody loves him.
What if you did have one that like basically did something where like I thought they were gonna allude to the fact that like, what if he killed the X-Men?
I thought they were going that direction too.
And I was like, are they really going that way? And if they are, like, that would have been like, wow,
they should have done that.
Yeah. It could have redeemed him.
Just something despicable where like the audience can like despicable, but not where he's not redeemable.
Exactly.
Something bad, but where he can still be redeemed. That would have been good.
That was the only thing though. Again, nothing too major. The only other kind of con, and again, it's not really a con, but it's like something that I kind of noticed. Did you at all feel that the villain Cassandra Nova just kind of flipped and her plan was like put into motion very quickly?
That's my con.
Oh, nice. We got the same one. That came in again. It didn't bother me because I can kind of understand it as to what happened between the actions of like her almost dying and then realizing that she's not gonna die and then kind of going into her plan. But I did feel like while I was watching it, I was like, whoa, this is really quick. Omar, go ahead. What do you guys have to say about that?
I don't like the villain at all.
Really?
Yeah. Not because of her performance. Like, just like when they make a villain so overpowered, like when she, I guess, spoiler, she killed Johnny Storm instantly, effortlessly. What's stopping her from doing that to Deadpool and Wolverine? You just, I think, activated another con that I had. That exact one is like when you go overboard on the abilities and powers, what's to stop not only the character, right, but what about the audience ourselves, right? Like, what's stopping us from then thinking, well, can't you just eliminate Deadpool Wolverine immediately? Exactly. Yeah, guys, that was my exact thought during the movie. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like they should have made her abilities. They should have nerfed her abilities a little.
or at least the death of Johnny Storm, like pulling his skin immediately. Like I was like, that immediately shows you are very overpowered.
And with that, and not even being close to him, she was a distance away from him. She could have killed Deadpool a long time ago, and so that kind of kills it for me. It kind of ruins like the experience for me.
Yeah,
because it's a little less believable, even though this is all fake, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're in the universe, you're in the story, you start to realize what could be done and what can't be done in the story.
The questioning.
Yeah.
You start questioning of like more and more of like, well, is this the right way like that? Like, well, can't you just do this?
Yeah,
Like,
can't you just do that? Or like, or even when she, like with the flip, she instantly doesn't want to kill Wolverine and Deadpool because they showed mercy.
And they saved it.
That one felt a little like, I don't really believe that.
Yeah.
And then she flipped again, wanted to destroy the whole universe. I was like, what's going on? How is she sparing these two guys, but then instantly goes into, I'm going to kill everybody now?
See, I liked her plan. She goes, my home is the void. So I'm basically going to make everything the void.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I like that if she didn't show mercy to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, showing them mercy and then flipping immediately and being like, well, they're going to get taken to the void anyway. So
yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. Mr. Rome, any other cons? Anything else? No? This is good, man. I think that we kind of thoroughly at least went through a lot of what we enjoyed, what we didn't like. Again, not perfect, but still really up there. Again, I enjoyed it. Let's keep talking about some of the good stuff, though, man. I want to keep talking about favorite performances, favorite moments, and if you're down for it, a favorite shot of the entire movie.
All right.
Mr. Rome, start it off. Favorite performance of a character in Deadpool and Wolverine.
This is tough. And it's only between two people. You want to say it at the same time?
Well, I think we should say it at the same time, but I don't know if we're going to have the same one.
We'll see.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I said Hugh Jackman. Yeah. I started off, Mr. Rome. Why Ryan Reynolds?
Hugh Jackman is incredible. Damn, I kind of feel like switching up. I just remember that scene in the van, remember? Oh, that scene is so good. Where he gets like really, really like emotional and angry. But I feel like Ryan Reynolds, he carries the movie.
Yeah.
Like, if he weren't in the movie, it wouldn't be Deadpool.
No.
So I guess I just chose him out of importance.
Yeah.
But damn, Hugh Jackman is really good.
So, again, I chose Hugh Jackman as Wolverine as my favorite performance. Let me start off like how Omar did. I really enjoyed Ryan Reynolds. The way that he, like this character, like him, Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool is almost becoming like the same kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Where just how you think about, like, when you think of Iron Man, you immediately think of Robert Downey Jr. Now when you think about Deadpool, it's immediately Ryan Reynolds. And, like, so he did a great job. Every joke, every delivery of all of his lines is just impeccable. But to me, in this film specifically, Wolverine was just, again, the arc that he went through, Omar's scene that he just described, like all these emotional moments like that, and just, again, having Hugh Jackman play a different Wolverine was just cool. A guy that was just in a way depressed, in a way, again, suppressing all of his thoughts and emotions and just ignoring what was going on and just basically living through life with nobody. And so, like, no purpose at all. And then, so, like, all that stuff, and then just being able to kind of, again, come out as the hero and eventually just turn things around and be like, hey, you know, all these things that I've done in my past can define me, but I can also still be an anchor being and still kind of help a different type of a universe in this film. So, like, that whole thing to me was just amazing. And so, to me, Hugh Jackman is mine. But I agree with Omar. It's between those two. And those two are just so good. Their chemistry together is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just awesome. Awesome movie to see them too. Mr. Rome, I kind of want to start this one off. Favorite moment or scene in the movie? You kind of teased it. My favorite scene is when they're in the minivan and they're talking to each other. And you have Wolverine and Deadpool, again, buddy cop. Another pro of why I like this movie so much is that this feels like these two guys, like Omar described earlier, a guy that doesn't have any emotion in a way, he's stoic, and you have a guy that's just outspoken, and you put them together, and it just works. And in this scene, you have Deadpool basically saying all this different stuff about like why he needs Wolverine's help, and then Wolverine finds out that Deadpool lied, because at the beginning, Deadpool says, I can guarantee and then save your universe. And it ends up being an educational wish, as Deadpool calls it. And then Wolverine just lays down an amazing monologue of what he basically thinks of Deadpool. Almost, and even saying like, I'm going to butcher this line, but I think he even calls him like, you deserve almost like to die, and you have the gift of not being able to die like that. Like, how terrible is that you're a person that you've done so many terrible things, and you still get to live like that. And so he did all this stuff like that, and he just got so emotional, and this rage that he had. It was an amazing scene, and that I think solidified why he was my favorite performance.
Yeah.
That moment was just incredible, and what made it even better is that he's the only character I think that can make Deadpool speechless to an extent.
Oh, that's good.
Because you have never been able to get like any villain or anything in these movies to make Deadpool shut up or anything of that nature. He always has a little quip to say. When Wolverine laid down that whole statement, Deadpool was legit speechless for about 5 or 6 seconds, which is a record. And then he eventually says, "I'm gonna fight you now," and like with no like energy, no like that kind of Ryan Reynolds delivery. It was literally just a straight, "I'm gonna fight you now," and that was amazing.
And it leads to like a badass fight. It's crazy. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
My favorite though.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to make this quick because I feel like we're taking on time.
Dude, we take the time that we want, man.
Yeah.
There is no limits here.
All right. So my favorite.
You're Mr. Every 5, man. You shouldn't worry about those kind of things.
This is the 5th episode. It's special. My favorite scene was when the Deadpool variants come out, and not even them fighting. It was when them and Nice Pool. I thought that was the funniest scene in the entire movie. I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god! There's this Deadpool that's nice, so he's like the complete opposite of the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool we know, and all these Deadpool variants come, and they're ready to kill Wolverine and Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds uses the Nice Pool as a shield. But the dialogue between Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds during that scene, oh my god, it was so funny. Like, the Nice Pool gets his head blown off. And Ryan Reynolds is trying to do CPR. But he has no head. And he's like, he died a hero's death. And Wolverine's like, you fucking murdered him.
Oh my gosh. Dude, I was tearing up when I
seen the movie.
That was man, that was amazing. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Like it was perfect because it culminated. Like that was the climax of the movie. So it's like it was all culminating to this moment. Oh man, that was so funny.
And then the reason, and you knew it was coming. Like you knew that the Nice Pool was gonna die because all Deadpool wanted was his dog, and so you knew it was like setting up for like that kind of a climax where he was gonna die. And the way like Omar described it, he was doing CPR to a dead body already, and he was like acting like it's like he's doing all he could. He's like
everything was so funny. What they were doing was funny, and what they were saying was funny. Oh man, that was a really funny scene.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's a great call out. That was one of the best moments of the movie, and it was definitely the one that had me the best joke that happened. Mr. Rome, let's move on. Last kind of favorite thing here. Favorite still or shot of the movie. Like think of like a shot in the movie that could be a poster. Anything that kind of pops off to you of like a beautiful image?
The first thing that comes to mind after they escape Cassandra. Do you remember there one scene where they're just walking? They're walking and talking.
Yep.
But they're walking in the field, and like the sun is kind of like setting behind them.
Yep.
That scene looks really good.
Good shot.
Because it's not CG. It's not a backdrop. It's not a fake backdrop, or it probably is. I don't know. It looked really. It looked like they were on location.
Yeah.
Just both of them in their suits.
Yep. With
like the sun setting behind them. I thought that was like a really. I would see that on a poster.
Yeah.
Really relaxed shot. You know, they're just walking.
But funny enough, I actually have my favorite still is actually Deadpool Wolverine walking, but walking in front of like the market or stand that's behind them with fireworks kind of tripping off.
Oh yeah.
Like before they're gonna face off against the Deadpool Corp.
Yeah.
I was like, that shot was to me was amazing. Like I don't know, like something about it, like just like the whole, like Omar described it in that scene that I liked. They're just walking like simple, like they're not doing anything crazy. Deadpool has these gold guns that he got from Nice Pool after he died, and like you just see little sparks come out, but they're just like walking so badass like that. Like it looks so cool. Like I could just definitely see that like as a poster. Runner up for me was when they ran through the bus, and then like you see Wolverine with his mask on. Which Omar, we didn't even talk about it for the costume design. I should have called it out, but
I think like the obvious pro.
Did you like the mask? Did you like how it looked?
Hell yeah! I've always wanted heroes with. Oh, you know what's a pet peeve for me in superhero movies?
What?
When they take the mask off.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
agree.
Tobey Maguire will take his mask
Yes.
off, I'm like, dude, keep the mask on.
Yeah,
Or
man.
like Tom Holland, I feel like Tom Holland's Spider-Man does it more than any other Spider-Man.
I think so.
Or any other hero.
Yeah.
Dude, I just want the superhero would look with the mask on always looks cooler.
Yeah.
So I was happy with the Wolverine mask.
And I think that's why Deadpool's so cool is that majority of the time he has his mask on.
Yeah. And that's what I'm telling you. These writers know what the fans want.
Yeah. And they nailed it with that Wolverine helmet. Like it looks so cool. The white eyes, like everything, it looks so badass. Like I love the line that Deadpool says where he's like you're just like Batman, except you can move your neck. And it was like just like all this different stuff. It's just hilarious. But yeah, that was a runner up for me, Omar. But yeah, I think we both have a similar either walking in front of a sunset or walking in front of a market. Like just two characters that are just badass.
Just look
So
cool.
Mr. Ohm, we've gone through everything, man. If you wanted to tell people about Deadpool and Wolverine, would you tell them to wait for streaming, or would you tell them to just go out to theater right now and watch it? What would be your recommendation?
Both would be cool.
Yeah.
I think theater is would be recommended for like the audience experience.
Yeah.
You can enjoy it with a group of people.
And I think that's like a great way to enjoy this kind of a movie that's hilarious.
Yeah, like comedy type of movies I think are fun with more people.
Yep. I'm with you on that one. I would even recommend going to Dolby Cinema. I really enjoyed what me and Omar saw in Dolby Cinema. So it's just like so much nice, bright colors. We sat in a perfect spot. And so definitely go check it out, guys, if you have it.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Ohm, before we leave, man,
The most important question.
we got to get through this question, which is Deadpool and Wolverine timeless? You want to start or you want me to start? You're the guest, man. Feel free to choose.
I'll start
Do it.
because I'm not going to even build any suspense.
Wow.
This movie is timeless. 100% rewatchable.
Mm-hmm.
Usually with like sequels and trilogies, I'm like, oh, why would I watch this movie if I could watch the first one
Mm-hmm.
or the second one? If they all have the same vibe, you know?
Yeah.
This one, you can't say that because there's no Wolverine in the other two.
Yeah.
So to me, 100% rewatchable.
This is where we're actually going to differ.
No way.
No, I'm just playing with you.
You got me.
Deadpool Wolverine is a timeless movie for me. It was easy. I just like Omar said, what makes this one so special too is that if you wanted the Deadpool backstory even more before he's with Wolverine, you could watch the first two if you wanted to. But this is literally one that you don't have to watch the previous two. You get an idea at the beginning as to like what Deadpool wants, like what's his conflict in this movie, right? He wants to matter. He wants to be an Avenger. But just seeing him interact with Wolverine, seeing like what they go through in this entire kind of a universe, it's just everything hits, man. Everything just works so well. And even how meta this movie is, you would think that maybe some of the jokes wouldn't age well, but I bet if we watch Deadpool 1, those jokes still age well. My favorite joke from Deadpool 2 is still when he's with Cable and he says, "Zip it, Thanos." Because during that time is when Josh Brolin was being Thanos. And it's like, those jokes just always land. And so to me, the meta jokes are always going to be something special for me. But this movie just hit me in everything, Omar. Every single thing and expectation that I was looking for, it made it. Again, it's not perfect. There was a couple cons, slight little nitpicks here. It didn't take me away, but I can't wait to watch this again. I want to watch it again in theaters. It's just such a great movie. And I'm just hoping, again, that this leads to the energy that the MCU needs. Not that it has to be funny and like this, like Deadpool every time.
Oh my God.
But just to have this kind of an event where people get back to like, can we get to that peak kind of a feeling again? I do want to call out that I can easily say, Omar, that this trilogy, I'm still considering it a trilogy of Marvel movies, is probably is top 3 best Marvel trilogies like that. I think to me, it's going to be very hard to get through Guardians of the Galaxy because those are just very special to me. But this is easily probably the second best trilogy that, and I know that the first 2 films weren't a part of Marvel, but he's a part of Marvel now. And these 3 movies, each one is just a hit after hit after hit. There's no dips, at least for me, like that. Everything is consistent or even better. And so this trilogy is amazing. I can't recommend this movie enough, and I can't wait to watch it. Mr. Rome, any final thoughts? Any other kind of things that you want to throw out there about that maybe we haven't talked about?
No, I think we talked about everything.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, Mr. Rome, I can't appreciate you enough, man. These are always so fun. Thank you so much for joining me on episode number 80.
It's fun.
This has been Omar Vasquez. I'm Victor Vasquez. This has been episode number 80 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out next week's episode as we're going to be covering a new film Omar won't be here. You're going to have to wait for episode 85. But make sure to at least listen to me solo as we talk about a new movie and consider it timeless after one viewing. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you guys later.